Hello class, we'll talk about some homework questions now on coordinates geometry. So here it goes, guys. So this was first question, find an equation in standard form whose graph goes through. So what I'm going to do is this, since we are familiar with y equals mx plus b format, so that's what we're going to do first. To find the slope, we're going to do y2 minus y1, which is 9 minus 5, and then the change of x as well. Then we're going to get 4 over negative 3, as you can see over here. Now, then our equation now becomes y equals negative 4 over 3, x plus b. Now, then how do you find b? Yes, that's correct. So you can plug in negative 2 and 5, or negative 5 and 9. You can plug in one of those 2 points. Then if I were to use the first point that's given, then we'll be getting something like this. Alright, so then to find the value of b, I'm just going to multiply. Then I'll be getting. So now this one tells us that for what value of b would you get 8 over 3 plus b is equal to 5. So I'm going to subtract 8 over 3 from both sides. Then we get to realize that b must be equal to 7 over 3. Alright, then the equation is y equals negative 4 over 3x plus 7 over 3 becomes the equation of the line so far. But if you wanted to put this one in standard form, we can multiply both sides by 3. Then we get 3y equals negative 4x plus 7. Alright, so to have it as a standard form, I'm going to put the variable terms to the left. Then we get 4x plus 3y is equal to 7. And that becomes my answer. Alright, let's look at the second question here. We want to find out the x-intercept and y-intercept. But they gave us the slope and a point. Then using that, we can write up the equation in this format using the point-slope form. Y minus 2 equals 4 times x plus 7. Alright, now, in this case, what's the meaning of x-intercept? X-intercept simply means that's when y is equal to 0. So all I have to do now is plug in 0 in place of y. That means on the left side we'll end up getting negative 2, which is equal to 4 times x plus 7. Alright, now then how would you figure out the value of x? By dividing it by 4, we get negative 1/2 on the left side. Then ultimately x becomes negative 15 over 2. That becomes our final answer. So that means negative 15 over 2 becomes our x-intercept. Let's go for the y-intercept. That's right, when x equal to 0. Alright, so from the equation, I'm going to plug in 0 in place of x. Then we'll get something like this. Now then 4 times 7 becomes 28. And we just have to move negative 2 to the other side. Then y becomes simply 30. Alright, so y-intercept is 30 and x-intercept is negative 15 over 2. Alrighty, let's move on to the next question. So they want us to find the distance. The distance between those two would have been equal to 5. That means, in fact, I can use the distance formula, or should I just say Pythagorean Theorem? Then I can write things down in this manner. So by squaring the both sides, we'll be able to get 9 and then 25. Then to isolate a by itself, I'm going to subtract 9 first. Then a plus 4 square must be equal to 16. Now by taking to get rid of the square, we're going to take the square root of both sides. Then we'll get a plus 4. Notice has to be equal to plus or minus 4. Then we get to realize that a, by subtracting negative 4, is equal to negative 4 plus or minus 4. Then one of them will be negative 4 minus 4, which is negative 8. The other one is negative 4 plus 4, which is equal to 0. So we have 2 answers for the values of a. Alright. How about the next one? When we are doing the distance formula, does it matter which one comes the first point? You see, the distance formula, which comes from the Pythagorean Theorem, would have given to us in this manner. y2 minus, x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. Or if I had to switch those two numbers, then I would have gotten something like this. I understand that x2 minus x1 and then x1 minus x2 in itself is not the same. But because we are squaring them, when you square them, then x1 minus x2 square has to be equal to x2 minus x1. Even though we switch the order in subtraction, it is because in when you square a term, then no matter what the term would have been, it will always turn into positive or 0. So that's why it would have been okay. Let's move on to the next question. So here 2 points are given. So what we like to do is we like to plot those 2 points. X and Y, that's the value of P, and that's the value of Q. Now, find PQ. That means we realize the horizontal difference is 3 and then vertical difference is 6. So to find the value of PQ, we're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem. Then we get 3 squared plus 6 squared will be equal to PQ squared. Then as you calculate in this manner, you get to see that PQ must be equal to square root of 45. But once you simplify that, then we get 3 square root of 5. That becomes our answer. How about the midpoint? How do you find the midpoint? We can simply use the average concept here. So average of -5 and -8, and the average of 2 and 8. Then the first one becomes -6.5 and second one becomes 5. That's it. How about part C? Find T such that Q is the midpoint. So then if Q is the midpoint, just to have things a bit clearer, I have written down in order P, Q, T, and writing them down in this way. Alright, then let us try to observe what happened from the P to the midpoint, which is Q. First, in terms of x, we subtracted 3. So then we have to do the same thing in x value as well. So when you subtract 3 from -8, we get -11. How about the y values? 3 to 8 becomes 6. The next one also becomes 6 as well. So we get 14. And that becomes our answer. The coordinate of t must be -11, 14. Number 6. If the line K is perpendicular to the graph that's given, passes through that particular point, find the equation in standard form. So first we like to find out the slope of the given equation, which I'm going to do that by solving for y. Then -3y must be equal to 4x plus 14. Now by dividing each term by 3, then we'll get y equals 4 over 3 x. Now this will help us to figure out the slope of the given equation, which is 4 over 3. So slope of k must be -3 over 4. Now, if the slope of k is -3 over 4, then in this case, we can use the point slope form to find the equation of the k. So which is y minus 2, which is equal to -3 over 4, x plus 3. Now, but this one is not in standard form yet, so I can multiply everything by 4. Then we get 4y minus 8 equals -3x minus 9. Then to have it as a standard form, I'm going to move everything onto one side here. Then we get 3x plus 4y by adding 9 must be equal to 1, equal to 0 now. Alright, this one was the answer. Now number 7. Show that in this case m has to be the slope. Then let us try to look at two cases. First case when x equals 1, then we're going to find out the y value, which is m plus b, because if x equals 1, plug in 1 in place of x, then we will end up getting m plus b. What if x was equal to 2? Then we're going to find out the coordinate of y as well. Then y is equal to 2m plus b. Now we can use the slope formula to find out the value of the slope here, which becomes y2, which is 2m plus b minus m plus b. divide whole thing by 2 minus 1. Then I'm applying the slope formula, which becomes m as our answer. All right. Then let us look at the next question here together. Number 8. This question, actually, we have done that in class. So I want you to just refer your class notes as an answer for this question. We use the two congruent right triangles to show that the slopes will be negative reciprocal, which when you multiply them to be equal to -1. All right, let's look at number 9. To show that slope of this one is equal to negative a over b, so then the way which we can do this, since y equals mx plus b in this case, has the m as the slope. So then I'm going to simply transform this equation. Then we'll end up getting, solving for y term by itself, then we get by equals negative ax minus c. Dividing each one by b, then we get negative a over bx minus c over b. All right. Then in this case, as you can see, negative a over b was the slope. All right, that's it. Then I guess that's it for our homework, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.